Columbia University. Now, this is going to be a long one, but in my view, this seems to be the biggest target. There seems to be more evidence for Columbia than anything else. And to a lesser extent, its neighbor, the Cathedral of St. John. Now, I think the Union Theological Seminary at Columbia is the real target. But there are definitely synchronized all these neighbors and heavily. We're going to start with the other attack on the World Trade Center, the one everybody forgets about. September 11th is the one everybody knows. The one everybody forgets happened in 1993. The basement bombing. There was some kind of a truck bomb went off. And that is where we're going to begin. What if we date from then to December 17th, 2022? We get Columbia University in English and in Latin. Universitas Columbiae and Columbia University. And then, if we take the straight number of days and ignore the zero here, as we must, that's what the cult does, you ignore zeros. 1887, Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine and the Cathedral Close, which is its official name, according to Wikipedia. Pretty scary. Just so you know, here is Columbia, here is St. John's. Next to it we have Notre Dame. There's a school, the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine. Union Theological Seminary, I think, is right up here somewhere. But this is where everything is, all within walking distance. Now we also get a square number, the 189th square. And that tells us State of Israel, Star of David. Now what does that mean? Well, let's date back to the founding of Israel. New York City. So, that's interesting. Now, its neighbor, St. John's, has a few different names. One of them is St. John the Unfinished. I guess it's just an unfinished church. It never did get finished. On December 18th, 2001, it had a fire in the unfinished section. No one knows why. Never got to the bottom of it. Let's date from there to December 17th, 2022. What will these numbers tell us? St. John the Unfinished, St. John the Unfinished, St. John the Unfinished. No way this is an accident. December 17th is the day. Now this, Burke Library at Union Theological Seminary, could be signaled also. You see how close it is? I'm not sure about that, to be honest, but St. John the Unfinished was definitely the message. Now, in the last video, we saw that New York University is synced with the 1945 bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Is Columbia synced also? Looks like they are. 4362, 4362. This is Nagasaki you're seeing here, August 9th. August 6th was Hiroshima. Now, for the record, September 11th is synced too. World's most famous equation. That's E equals mc squared. And yeah, I know I said in the last video that you only need to know two phrases, mass energy equivalence and mass times speed of light squared. Guess I have to walk that back here. World's most famous equation is another one. If you sync from those bombings, both of them, to Queen Elizabeth's death, they're both synced to her. These bombings were 3 days apart. 771 becomes 7713. Both of them synced to her death. December 17th itself has a 7713. Now, like St. John's, the Jewish Theological Seminary, which is affiliated somehow with the Union Theological Seminary. It had a fire too. No one ever got to the bottom of it. Way back in the 60s. Is this synced with December 17th, 2022? Mass times speed of light squared. Mass energy equivalence. Its real name is Library of the Jewish Theological Seminary. We'll be seeing that again shortly. If you've watched the intro video, and I hope you did, you see that Barry Bonds' record home run. And I have a whole video on Major League Baseball, how wicked they are. His record home run was hit on this day. Here's where he set the record, August 7th. And then on September 5th, he set his final home run. Universitas Columbiae. What if we sync from that home run to December 17th? Universitas Columbiae. Even Barry himself matches the official name of this university, Columbia University in the city of New York. Now, don't ask me how I found this. I work backwards. I have my ways. But Disney World in Florida, they have a monorail, and it had an accidental crash on July 5th, 2009, and a man was killed. Someone actually died. They had another crash on November 18th, 2015, in which nobody was killed. I'm sure they tried. What happens? What if we connect that home run we just saw with the first crash? And then connect the first crash with the second crash? And then connect the second crash with December 17th, 2022. Like this. Daisy chain. The home run with the first crash with the second crash with the big day. What will we get if we do this? We will get all three names of this university. English, Latin, and the official name. 8441. That is hard to hit. Seemed like random events. They were not. And if you just connect the two crashes, you get another little message. Revelation 13:18, the most infamous verse in the whole Bible, the one that mentions 666. We'll be seeing this again and again and again. Would you expect anything less from Disney? You know who Disney are. They got 666 in their logo. Mickey Wicked, the reflection there. Everybody knows who Disney is. Now, Columbia was the name of one of NASA's space shuttles, and they had an accident themselves. The entire crew died. This happened on February 1st of 2003. If you date from September 11th, 2001, you get that same number, 1203. St. John's, right next to Columbia, 1203, 1203, 1203. And if you include the end date to make it 1204, Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York. The common name, the official name. Within Columbia University is Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York. Now, NASA had another disaster, accident. A more famous one was the Challenger disaster from 1986. Everybody died there too. What if we connect the Columbia disaster with the Challenger disaster? NASA in Satanic Freemasons. NASA is satanic. There'll be a lot of evidence for that. 666. They're wicked themselves. And you can't think of NASA without thinking of the moon landing. We're going to sync it with the Queen's death and December 17th, 2022. Columbia University, Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York, in Latin. Satanic. Let's go to Hollywood. The Bourne Identity. I have never seen this movie. But it looks like Columbia University. Its release date, its nationwide release date, June 14th, 02. Sync it up. What do we get? Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine and the Cathedral Close in Satanic. Now, the author, I understand this was a book long before it was a movie. The author named the character Jason Bourne. He must have been a George Washington fan. And if we go back to George Washington's death, and this won't be the first time we do this, he was a Freemason, big-time Freemason. If we sync from his death in 1799 up to this movie, 14th to the 14th, an even number of months, the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine. Its full name, the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine. It's right next to the church, which is right next to Columbia. And now is a good time to introduce September 11th, 2001, now that we've mentioned the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine, because when you date from September 11th, 2001 to December 17th, 2022, you get that same phrase, the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine. When I got this, I knew I had the right date. So now we've seen that both World Trade Center attacks, 93 and 2001, both of them sync up with Columbia. There are plenty of other more important syncs with that date. We haven't even seen the main one yet. But for now, got to go to The Simpsons again, and we're going to start with, by far, the most infamous episode, this one. I think this is the most infamous cartoon image of all time. 4 years before September 11th, they told everybody that's what was going to happen. 9/11. This was episode 179. If you write out 911, you get 179. In the very first cipher, it aired in 1997, New York City. Let's start with the title. Look at this. You are looking at evil. You are looking at evil. World Trade Center, Twin Towers. Does the title also match with Columbia? Union Theological Seminary, Burke Library. Like I said, I strongly think that is the real target. I wouldn't be at St. John's either, but I think UTS is the main target. The official names are Columbia University in the city of New York, Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York, just like the title. But wait till you see how we relate these two. How do we relate this episode to both September 11th and December 17th, 2022? It's subtle. Verse, as in Bible verse. We're going to sync the episode to September 11th and sync it to December 17th, 2022, and we're going to get the same Bible verse. Man alive. Man alive. In the very first cipher, and English extended for the other one. Now look, this one's already come true. September 11th happened. Do you want to take the risk on December 17th? You don't. I can't even tell you how chilled I was when I first saw this. Now you know the kind of sickos you're dealing with. They do not make idle threats. Does this episode tell us anything else? It does, actually. And this will make you want to throw up, too. 3236 and 2588. Jesus of Nazareth, second coming. Whoever these people are, they are some sick people. That's it for this episode. We've got more, though. There are other episodes that point to Columbia. And this is also an infamous episode, when Notre Dame burned. Everybody thought this was Notre Dame in Paris when it burned. It wasn't. It was the Notre Dame right next to St. John's. The title was Husbands and Knives. That's after some Woody Allen movie called Husbands and Wives, which was also in Manhattan. Episode 407, Manhattan. 1118, New York City. 2007, Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine. Not the official name, but it's the common, casual name. This was not Notre Dame in Paris. This was the Church of Notre Dame, Archdiocese of New York. Right here, right next to St. John's, right next to Columbia. I don't know if Union Theological Seminary was the target or not. I didn't see the movie. I didn't know if that was intended, but it's there for the record. And this is what's important. You get that verse again in the Francis Bacon cipher this time. So chilling. So chilling. And keep in mind who wrote the book of Revelation. It was St. John the Divine. These are his words. So how many episodes are there that sync that verse to December 17th? I counted 6. I've just shown you 2. I'm not going to show you all 6. I'm going to show you 4 in total. So we've gone through 2. We've got 2 more, including the episode that goes way, way back the farthest, before it was its own series. Most people know that The Simpsons was a skit on the Tracy Ullman Show. We'll get to that. But first, we're going to get to the England episode. When they went to England, this episode was called The Regina Monologues. Looks like Library of the Jewish Theological Seminary. What will I get if I sync it to December 17th, 2022? Library of the Jewish Theological Seminary. Please spread this. And, like I promised, that wicked verse, again, plus the last 5 words of that wicked verse. Look at that. They got the verse and the 666. Evil. You're looking at evil. And for anybody who doesn't know, the meaning of 600, 6, score means 20. 600, 3 and 6 adds up to 666. That's the old way of saying it. Score means 20. It's kind of like when President Lincoln said 7 years ago. It's just like that. For anybody who didn't know. So, that's the England episode. And now, like I said, the episode that goes back the farthest. The very first Simpsons sketch, it was like a 2-minute sketch or something on the Tracy Ullman Show. They didn't even look the same. Back in 1987, and this episode was called Good Night. Good Night. Looks like Revelation 1318. And what will we get if we connect it with December 17th, 2022? Uh, 18606, 18606. This is why they started their show on that day. Well into the 5 digits there. Anything else? What we saw in the last video, Grossman School of Medicine, Joan and Joel Smilo Research Center. Before it even existed. I don't think it matters. They know what the world's going to look like. They plan it. The title matches. These are not coincidences. We also get a square number, 188th square, Tisch Hospital. And for the record, Jesus of Nazareth is 188 in the first cipher. I've given up trying to understand these people. I've shown you one episode that syncs Revelation 13:18 with September 11th, 2001, and it came true. I've shown you 4 episodes that sync it with December 17th, 2022. And that one episode synced them both. Please meditate on that. And decide that it is not smart to ignore it. You do not want to be at these places. Anywhere near Columbia University. If you're taking finals, you're not going to be able to concentrate that day. Now here's one last bit of evidence. George H.W. Bush, Bush the Elder, gave a speech, it happened to be on September 11th of the year 1990. He gave his very infamous New World Order speech, where he said, out of these troubled times, our 5th objective, a new world order, can emerge. Look how many times he said it just in this paragraph. He said that like 4 or 5 times in that speech. People couldn't believe he said it. He said it multiple times. Very infamous speech. We're going to connect that with September 11th, 2001 and December 17th, 2022. Unreal. Just unreal. The first one's already come true. Don't take a risk on the second one. We also got a couple more numbers. Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York, in Latin, and James Memorial Chapel at Union Theological Seminary. That's all I've got for Columbia for now. Like I said, Union Theological Seminary, in my opinion, is the real target because it fits the theme. I know St. John's is synced, and I would not be there either, but I think the Union Theological Seminary is the real target. If you watch the final video in this series, you'll see why I think that. Thank you for watching.